Hello and welcome to a special edition of Sports Talk. I'm Charlie King and I am joined today by three outstanding athletes from East Brunswick High School. On the far side over there is Jill Masterton, who has accomplished a great deal in basketball and softball. And in the middle there is the good-looking guy is Danny Miller. And Danny, as I'm sure all of our viewers recognize, is an outstanding soccer player. Also was a pretty good basketball player. We'll talk about that as we go on. And also played golf. And right next to me is someone I'm sure that doesn't need any introduction in East Brunswick, Heather O'Reilly. And in addition to being a super soccer player, she's a pretty good basketball player too, and I enjoyed your career. Just in a couple of weeks, all of this will kind of be over with, or this phase of your careers will be over with, and you'll be moving on to the collegiate level to study, hopefully, and also to compete. I know all three of you plan to compete at that next level. But what I'd like to do for a few minutes is kind of pause and reflect on how you got to this level, which is tremendous in my opinion, having had the opportunity to see each one of you. So maybe we could start with Jill over there, and she could give us a little bit of her background, her family. I know she's got a couple of brothers, or three brothers. So Jill, would you start us off by giving us a little of your background?
Well, I have three brothers, Bobby, Kevin, and Michael. They're 15, 12, and 10. And
okay. Are they involved in athletics?
They play baseball and hockey.
Baseball and hockey?
Yeah.
No basketball players?
No.
Huh? Oh. And your mother and father, do they work, or are they, your mother stays home? Or
my mom's a court reporter, but she works at night, so she stays home, and my dad works at AT&T.
Oh, good. And Danny? I mean, I know your mom and dad, so be careful.
Well, my brother, he's down south at Jacksonville, Florida. He goes to Jacksonville University and he plays soccer there, and basically the past 4 years he's been down there having a great time playing soccer. Yeah. And he's basically the one who's gotten me into soccer, and everything I've become is basically because he's been pushing me ever since.
Well, he's done a pretty good job. How about your mom and dad? I know your mom works for the school.
Yeah, my dad's a principal over at Colonia Middle School, so we have some rivalry sometimes.
And so, and your mom is a supervisor
in East Brunswick English, so I get it in with all the English teachers over there.
Yeah, I'm sure. And Heather, your family? I know your brothers and your dad. So.
Yeah, we have a pretty big family that's all been through East Brunswick High School. I have three older brothers who all played sports at East Brunswick. They were all track runners, and they played soccer when they were younger, but didn't continue with it. And they're the ones that kind of, made me the tough little girl growing up. I always wanted to play with them, and when they had friends over, I would always try to shoot hoops with them, or kick the soccer ball around, or even throw the football around. They made me tough. And my father as well was very athletic when he was younger. He ran track at Villanova University. So we got good genes in my family with athletics. And my mom works at home, and she takes care of us all.
And as I said, I see them all at the games. Your brother's a little older than you are.
Yes.
Let me just, I don't remember exactly. Why don't you tell us how much older your brother that's closest to you? What's the spread?
My brother Kevin graduated in 2000 from East Brunswick. Okay. So he's 20 now, and he's a cadet at the Air Force Academy. And my brother Steven is 24, just turned 24, and he graduated from Syracuse and is now working at an architecture firm. He's going to be an architect, so hopefully he'll be building me a large house someday.
Yeah. In the Carolinas or what?
Yeah, maybe in the Carolinas.
Okay.
And my oldest brother, Mike, is going to be an orthopedic surgeon next year. He's 27.
He's 27. He's my daughter's age, Colleen. And Mike, where did Mike go to school? Did he go to?
He went to Georgetown.
Georgetown.
And now he's going to be working back at Georgetown at their
Great.
medical hospital.
Very good. Elementary schools. Okay, let's go back to elementary school. Jill,
I went to Memorial.
Memorial School.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Memorial School?
I don't know. Well, at like recess, me and Danny, we went to Memorial together, and we were both on the same basketball team. We were undefeated for 2 years.
Did you? Yes, remember that, right? And Danny, as Jill already said,
I
you
remember
went
we won
to.
that pizza that time. We won free pizza from Mrs. Dunn for winning the championship.
Ah, so that's where your basketball career started over there.
Yeah.
At those 8-foot baskets.
Oh yeah.
They still got those 8-foot baskets over there. Any teachers in elementary school, either one of you, that at Memorial that kind of
I remember,
you remember?
Mrs. Dunn, the gym teacher,
Right?
or the physical education teacher, that she always rivaled Jill and I against each other to see who could beat each other out. And, Jill kind of always won, but maybe.
No, wait a minute. I didn't hear. I didn't hear all
admit that
that.
on TV, did I?
Yeah. Did you used to handle him or what?
No.
No?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah?
She made me tougher though.
She made you tougher, I'm sure she did. And you went to St. Bart's,
Yep.
right?
I went to St. Bart's from kindergarten through 8th grade, then came to Churchill in 9th.
What kind of experience was that for you? Do you remember? What do you remember about St. Bart's?
I
It's close to
remember-
Memorial. We talked about
Yeah, we would always see those weird public school kids out on recess, not in uniform. But I remember St. Bart's in that there was only 30 students in my grade, so we all had this closeness and close friendships with each other. Bonds that grew from kindergarten, you know. And then when it came to the high school, there's a big transition, going from 30 kids in your grade to almost 700.
So you went from 8th grade at St. Bart's to Churchill,
Right.
right? And so there was 30 at St. Bart's, and probably at Churchill in 9th grade was maybe 500-600,
Yeah,
600 or more.
it was pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, that must have been an interesting adjustment. Yeah. Well, when did you start playing sports, Joe?
2nd grade, I started playing soccer, and so that was the first sport I played. And then from there, I think I played softball next, and basketball I didn't start till 3rd grade at St. Bart's.
In the St. Bart's rec program, over
Yeah.
there, parish program. Yeah, I've coached over there. It's a great program. I haven't been as closely involved in it as I once was, but I coached the school team and the parish team and played. Did you play all those? I mean, that was the rec league, right? And then
The
from
rec
there,
league, and then I think 5th grade started the parish team where like you played against other churches and it was more competitive then.
yeah. Did you? Were you playing soccer at that time as well?
Yeah, I played all 3 sports
All
for
three?
a while.
When did you kind of separate the?
In 8th grade, it got a little hard for me to play like all 3 sports because they all wanted like commitments like all summer too. So I stopped playing soccer. I played on the freshman team, but I stopped playing travel in 8th grade. So,
Okay. Commitments.
yeah,
Wow.
it was a lot
Time.
of time.
3 sports, and there's still a few, I guess, of your classmates that probably play 3 or they run cross country, winter track, and track. But it's I know coaches want. I know Mr. Carney certainly wanted your attention in the summertime. Danny, how about yourself? Is that where you started at Memorial or before that?
Well, my dad was a coach. He coached my brother, so I would basically just tag along and try and run around with the older kids and get pushed around. But that's basically where I started, and then it continued on as I grew older, started playing travel, and then St. Bart's like Jill, and basically it was just a good time, and that's where I started.
Great.
Basically.
Okay. And Heather?
I started playing soccer with the East Brunswick instructional program. I guess I started officially at 5 or 6, but
you were
even
there.
from when I was a toddler, I was running around with the boys and going to my dad used to coach my brother's team, so I would try and join
You
in
were
at the practices and try and run the races at the end and try and beat the boys out. But and then I continued with the East Brunswick Rec program, and which when I think you're 9 years old, you become travel team.
Travel team.
So I was on the East Brunswick travel team for.
And how long does that go? I mean, the travel team. Does it go the whole year? Or, I mean, it seems like they never stop playing. Is that
I think that
accurate?
it's fall season is the heaviest.
Heaviest, okay.
That's when you go to state championships
Right.
and things like that. And then in the spring, you also play in the league. So it's really time consuming. I mean, you have practices after school.
Right. What kind of experience was that? I mean, you played in the soccer club as well, right?
Right.
And Jill until 8th grade. And they do a great job. I mean, that's my opinion. And they have for a number of years. And I think that's one of the reasons that East Brunswick is,
Yeah, definitely.
recognized as one of the better soccer teams, both boys and girls, in the state, and has been for a long time. And I think the soccer club has a great deal to do with that. Is that kind of your impression, or? I mean, I know you.
Well,
you play? You played fall and spring and winter season, and
Yeah, and then
I guess the
winter
winter's
season.
indoors. Or they still,
Yeah,
did you
indoors
do
you're
that?
running from basketball, you're playing, you're dribbling the ball into, and then you're running at night. You got to go to the indoor soccer practices, and it's tough. You know, at one practice I actually caught the ball and started dribbling it like a basketball player. The coaches started yelling at me, but I just think it's great to play many sports because you really have to adapt yourself and really be quick on your feet to like make those kind of decisions. Like basketball, I think really helps me playing soccer because I had to make decisions, especially being a point guard, like really quick decisions like right away and everything. I think that really is instrumental in any kind of athlete to have a diverse situation there.
That's great. I mean, yes, Heather?
I was just going to add that
Yeah.
I don't think Mr. Carney appreciates when a few of the soccer players on the basketball team would kick the ball or knock it against the wall with our foot. He didn't like that
He
too
didn't
much.
like that too much?
But it definitely,
He seemed to become more tolerant, though.
he did.
Over the time, I remember when he first came to East Brunswick. I mean, and he coached softball as well at that time. But,
I think that Mr. Carney just realized that no matter what our favorite sport may be, as long as we're, on the team in the winter, we'll put our whole heart into it. And we all did that, and so he had a respect for that.
Yeah, no, I think so. Matter of fact, I know so, because when he was here a month or so ago, and he kind of alluded to that. He said that he respected all of the commitments that you guys have made and how much effort that all of his athletes had put forth, and he was obviously very successful. Okay, Jill, you're up. We're in 9th grade, and when you came to you were still at Churchill. You were at Churchill at that point, right? Now, you played at the high school in 9th grade.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You played
Basketball and softball.
basketball and softball. Tell us about that. In terms of, just think about it in terms of what were the challenges. Was it intimidating? Did you have to change who you were as a result of being on the bottom of the age group anyway?
Well, it was different because it was the first time we played with people that much older than us, like the seniors. But the whole fall before, leading up to the basketball season, Jess Oshesky would take me to open gyms at other schools. So I was comfortable playing against the older kids, and also that helped me know the seniors a little bit better for basketball. So I wasn't as intimidated, and I think we had four or five freshmen pulled up. So we had our younger.
So you had some company.
Yeah. And then once softball started and I played varsity again, it wasn't a new experience to me. I had already been there and knew some of the people. So
it was easier in
Yeah.
the softball season. Because 9th graders, I don't know if you all know this, did not play. We're not allowed to play. Actually, I think I was the athletic director at that time. And 9th graders played at the 9th grade level. And there was, I think the first one to come up was a wrestler or something, and because of the 101 or 98 pounds or whatever, there are not too many high school 10th graders that qualified for that weight class. So we brought a wrestler up, and then gradually now it's anybody that wants to try out that's good enough to make the team, and which is probably the way it should be anyway.
Sure, all
Do you
three
think
of
so?
us agree
You
that
think-
that's the right
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. But that's not the way it was. It was, and I don't know why. Probably the 9th grade coaches wanted to hold on to the gems that they had, or the stars, and that's understandable. I coached 9th grade as well, and I kind of felt that way at one time. How about you?
Well, it's a difficult adjustment, really, because you're the big man on campus over down at Churchill because you're on the varsity. But when you go up to the high school and you're the little ninth grader, you're just this little squirt and like this little running around there. So like it's a tough adjustment from going at 2 o'clock, like from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, being this big man on campus. Oh, he's varsity to, oh, okay, now it's 2:30. Now you got to go practice with the varsity. Oh, he's just this little freshman kid.
Did you play varsity right away?
As a freshman.
I mean, you didn't play JVs at all, right?
No.
Just right to the varsity. How did the seniors and juniors kind of? I mean, you were taking somebody's position,
Right.
right? I mean, in essence, if you weren't there, somebody else would have had your playing time.
Yeah.
So, did they resent you being there? Do you think in any way? Or?
There was a little resentment at first, but it was also easier for me because my brother had just been a senior,
Okay.
and I had basically been acclimated to like the team and everything, and I was basically not friends with them, but like I knew them and like we played before, but still I was taking another senior spot in one of their friends' spots. So at first there was a little, like you said, resentment, but as we started playing together and started winning together, I guess
They become a team
yeah.
after that. And yours, but your transition was, as you said, that you played with Jess in the summertime, and so that made it a little bit. And there were more. How many ninth graders did you have when you started? Just yourself?
Well, they were just on varsity, just myself.
Just yourself.
Right.
So that was a little bit different than Jill's situation. When if you had 3 or 4 people to kind of were in the same situation, it probably wasn't quite as traumatic. And Heather, how about you? I mean, I remember when you played as a freshman. I remember when Danny played too.
Well, I know with soccer, I was nervous to even go to the tryouts. I was hoping that I would even just get brought up to JV, you know. But I just went kind of with an open mind that I was just gonna try to play my best. And then the seniors, especially Tara Davis, kind of took me under their wing. Yeah, I was lucky enough to have great senior leadership in both sports, soccer and basketball. In basketball, the team was led by Jess Oshesky, and in soccer, it was led by Tara. So I was lucky to have those great seniors as my for my incoming year.
Did it change your style of play at all? I mean, in soccer in particular? I mean, did you, I don't know, I guess what I'm saying, did you hold back a little bit as opposed to
Right.
being more aggressive initially?
No, I know what you're saying. Right. I mean, at first, you're in ninth grade. You're a solid 4 years younger than maybe some of your opponents or even some of your teammates. So
Right.
at first, you're going to be a little modest with your playing style. But I think that as all of us got comfortable with the environment that we were in, we just played the way we know how.
Okay. So now the ninth grade is over with, and 10th grade comes. What's different? Anything different for you as a 10th grader?
Well, now you're like you have 1 year of experience under you, so you know what everything's all about, and you try to pave the way for maybe the freshmen coming up now.
Yeah. Danny, how about yourself?
Well, after being like the freshman or whatever, just being known as the freshman to like the newspapers or whatever, you kind of have to live up to that your next year, and you can't really just rest on your laurels that you did so well your freshman year. You have to build on that and like, have a better sophomore campaign.
Was it easier? Maybe that's not the right word, but
Well, yeah, like Joe said, having a year under your belt, you know, you're not the little kid following anymore. You begin leading and everything.
you didn't have to make the adjustment. There
Right.
was you just went out and more or less could be yourself. Pretty much the same with you.
I agree. I think it's also easier when you get into 10th grade and you go to the school. You know, you're into East Brunswick High School, and you make friends in the high school, and you make friends with the upperclassmen. So that way you already know a lot of the girls right off the bat, and you don't have to form friendships like you did in ninth grade.
How about academically? We need to talk about all the great accomplishments you all have had, and we'll get to that. But before we get to that, you know, that's really the reason you're in school. Sometimes, I think somebody said to me one time, well, why are you going to, I'm playing sports, and if I didn't play, I'm not going to school. But it really is the other way around. I mean, that's why we're there, because of academics. Academically, how does sports and your academics kind of blend, or they clash, or is it, why don't we start with that?
I think for me, it's kind of funny because I don't play a spring sport, and sometimes it's kind of funny that I do better a lot of times in school if if I'm playing a sport.
Oh,
Sometimes-
during the fall or the winter
right.
season?
It's kind of funny how it works out like that, but I think that sports are really important because you learn how to manage your time and you learn, you know, how to be disciplined. And I mean, it's definitely something that's helped me out.
So you think the athletics actually helped you academically?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Good. Exciting. How about you, Dan?
Well, just the other day, I had some kid come up to me and say, you know, Danny, you're going to Duke, one of the best schools in the country. I said, that's unfair. Like your SAT scores aren't 1,500, and your GPA isn't over 4.0. And then my response is, you know, you try having 3 hours of practice or 4 hours of practice a day, and you try having a 4.0. You know, so it all balances out, and I don't think many people understand what an athlete really goes through when they're on these teams and how hard it is to balance everything. So, in response to that, like that's my response, and that's my
Yeah, it's
background.
a good response. That's probably one that I should have thought of some time ago. But that's a good one because how many hours, at least? So school starts at what,
7:30.
7:30 in the morning. You got out at 2:10.
Right.
Practice starts right after that, right? Practice goes until, who knows, 4 or 5 o'clock, right?
6, right.
6 o'clock maybe. If you're having an away game like Jill does today, she's got to go. She'll probably get home. What time do you get home tonight?
Probably like 6:30, 7.
6:30 or 7 o'clock from a softball game.
I think we all know what it's like to be doing our homework on the bus rides.
Is that right? You've done a lot of homework on bus trips?
And especially if you have 2 sports going at the same time, maybe not for school, but if you have one varsity sport and then, like me, for example, and Danny, we play club soccer a lot.
Right.
So a lot of times we would have basketball and then we'd have club soccer at night. And it's tough to come home and do your homework at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, but you find a way to manage
You
it.
find a way to do it. Yeah. Okay. We've talked about 9th grade. We talked a little bit about the transition to 10th grade. Let's talk about 11th and 12th grade. And tell us what you're, Jill, most proud of during that period of time, during that 10th or 11th and 12th grade, or maybe even before that.
Well, 11th and 12th grade, I guess with basketball, I wasn't really like expected to be like one of the main contributors because we had like Liz and Maura and Erin and Heather were all there. So I was supposed to like have a big impact, but then when Liz and Maura and Heather all weren't there all the time, I had to like step up my leadership as a 11th grader. So I think that, and then we ended up winning GMCs, which
Right.
and go undefeated in county, and I was really proud of
So
our.
that was exciting.
Yeah, I was proud of our team's ability to do that. So.
Yeah. Well, and this year was a great year, right? I mean, you broke the 1,000-point mark, 4th all-time in the school history in scoring. And I have a list of stats here that would boggle anybody's mind. All of the categories that you are in the top 10, and there's been some pretty good players go to East Brunswick over the years. How about you, Dan? I know you were all state and Gator player of the. Why don't you tell us about that Gator award that you won? I know you should have been a Seminole award, but that's okay.
That's fun. But being I'm a Gator fan.
Yeah, I know.
But well, those you could look at those individual like accolades, or All-America, Gatorade Player of the Year, but
For the state of New Jersey?
yeah, state of New Jersey.
That means Danny was the #1 soccer player in the state of New Jersey. So, congratulations.
Well, you look at some of the past Gatorade Players of the Year for New Jersey, and you look at some of the names like Tony Miola and all these big time players that you grew up watching, and then just to be having your name on a list going down next to theirs is just like it's mind-boggling. Just to like think about it. Just for me to know that I did something like that.
Tremendous, really tremendous.
I didn't think I could do something.
And Heather, you've been all over the world. I mean, in addition to making All-State and all the rest of that throughout your career. Wow. I mean, to see your picture in Sports Illustrated and ESPN, the magazine, and to play for the. Tell us a little bit about that experience, if you. And I know you could probably go on forever, but just what stands out? The player of the year in the nation, soccer player. And #1 in the United States. Are you kidding me? That's tremendous. Wow.
I think it's definitely been, high school for me has definitely been a roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from me going from this small parochial school to traveling to the high school, and then all that occurred while I was at East Brunswick High School is pretty intense. And I think that East Brunswick really, being with my friends in sports is a big thing for me. I think that it makes you love the game more. And some of my best friends are on the soccer and basketball teams. So that's
Great.
kind of what made me love the sport. You know, I don't think any of us would still be playing if we weren't loving it. And being with your friends and playing sports at the high school is really, really good for you.
Sure. Yeah,
And I think as a team, my proudest accomplishment was winning the state title last year for soccer. We had a great team last year and all 4 years at East Brunswick.
Right.
So I was blessed to come into such a great soccer tradition.
Great. Well,
And-
East Brunswick is blessed to have you. I'll tell you
Thank
the truth.
you.
Every one of you.
Thank
Now,
you.
You're going to Lafayette, right?
Yes.
To play,
Softball.
I mean, to study. What are you going to major in, do you know?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay, that's good. But softball is going to be the sport you're going to play.
Yeah.
And Danny, you're going to Duke,
To major in soccer.
major in soccer. I'm sure your mother will love to hear that. But what are you going to academically? What are you looking to do?
I'm not really sure yet. Either be a psychologist or do something in communications, be a broadcaster for like ESPN. No,
Okay.
I don't know that big, but
That's
My
good.
something in communications.
Think big. Think
Broadcast for
big.
my games.
Oh yeah, for Heather's games, I want to be a broadcaster.
Okay, that sounds good. And Heather, you're going to Chapel Hill, the
Right.
University of North Carolina. How did you decide on Chapel Hill? I mean, I'm sure you had a few opportunities.
I think at first I was just drawn to the legacy that UNC has for women's soccer. In the last 22 national championships, they've won 17 times. So they're
Wow.
definitely the powerhouse in women's soccer. But that's just what was my initial draw to the school. Once I went there and saw the campus
It's a great
and
place.
noticed how academically they're one of the best schools in public schools in the country as well. So it's a great balance of athletics and academics, and I guess I get to see Danny play a little bit more.
Yeah, well, he's only 7 miles away. And I've been at Lafayette, which is great. And I've been at Duke several times. Chapel Hill I've been to. We're running out of time, and they're giving me the signal that we've gotten to the end of the show. So I want to thank you, all of you, and thank for sharing your experiences with our audience. And I look forward to reading the newspapers and hearing those great things about each one of you, which I know are going to continue to happen. And we're going to see you on the U.S. team, the national team?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah, we saw you in China, so we're going to see her again. Good luck. And
Thank you.
graduation is only a month away. 2 months, month and a half.
Came quick.
Came quick. Okay, thank you all
Thank
very,
you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
All right. I'm Charlie King. This is another edition of Sports Talk, and it certainly has been a pleasure talking to these 3 outstanding young student athletes from East Brunswick High School.